As many of you know, if you've been a fan of the channel for a while, Crystal Beast is easily my favorite archetype of all time. I thought they were presented so well in the show. Just as a kid growing up, I thought they were really cool, and I think the cards themselves have such a neat concept that very few decks have done to this day. It's just unfortunate that they've been mostly unplayable throughout the entirety of their span in the card game, but with the Structure Deck Legend of the Crystal Beast on the horizon in just a couple months, we're starting to get leaks for that deck, and I am very optimistic about some of the cards we've seen so far. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back into the video. And today, as I mentioned in the intro, we are going to talk about the Legend of the Crystal Beast Structure Deck, which has some of the coolest art, for the record, of a Structure Deck box in quite some time. And yes, I am a little biased because I am a huge fan of the archetype. So far, we have 6 cards revealed for the Structure Deck, and they are not related to the Advanced Dark / Advanced Crystal Beast cards that we got for Animation Chronicle, which will be our Battles of Legends set. If you guys have not yet seen that video that I made talking about the Advanced Crystal Beasts, you can check that video out in the description down below. But let's watch this one first. I promise you there's going to be some extremely hyped stuff to look at from the new cards. Starting off, Rainbow Dragon Overdrive. So this was actually one of the first reveals, and I was waiting on making a video until we had like a significant number of reveals for the deck rather than just like 1 or 2 cards. Rainbow Dragon Overdrive is awesome artwork, clearly the cover card, and I'm fairly certain this is in the Structure Deck. I don't know why it has the V-Jump logo on it. That may have been where it was actually released initially in terms of the promotional material, and I know that usually the people who I use graphics for will grab them from there. So this is a level 12 Light Dragon Fusion monster that needs 1 Ultimate Crystal monster and 7 Crystal Beast monsters. This card is always treated as an Ultimate Crystal card. So those of you who don't know, in the OCG, Rainbow Dragon is called Ultimate Crystal, and that's where the discrepancy is. So obviously any of the cards that are Rainbow Dragons need to have that to work as intended with those cards. Must be special summon from your extra deck during a duel that you special summon an Ultimate Crystal monster by banishing the above cards from your field or graveyard. If you have 7 or more banished Crystal Beast monsters with different names, this card gains 7,000 attack. If this card is not battled during this turn, quick effect, you contribute this card, shuffle as many cards on the field into the deck as possible, and if you do, special summon any number of your banished Crystal Beast monsters. So a lot to unpack here. You don't fusion summon this normally. What you do is you special summon it by banishing the materials from the field or grave. However, you do have to have successfully summoned an Ultimate Crystal monster first, which is a bit key in the sense that you need to do that in order to be able to bring this out. Otherwise, it would be pretty easy to just mill a bunch of Crystal Beast cards and then banish them. It does not require 7 Crystal Beast monsters with different names, which is a nice touch because the card would be virtually unplayable if it did, and I'm not even sure it's super playable as is. Still, we're not done with the support yet, and there might be ways to make this viable or ways to make Rainbow Dragon easier, and if that does end up being the case, then we'll certainly have to revisit it. Overall, it falls in line with what you'd expect for a Structure Deck boss monster for the most part. It's cool, it's going to get people excited, but it's not the real meat and potatoes of the deck. It's just pretty solid for what it is. Next up, we've got Crystal Protection. This is a normal spell that says target 1 Crystal Beast monster card you control, destroy it, then special summon 1 Crystal Beast token with the same original type, attribute, level, attack, defense as that card. If a Crystal Beast card or cards is placed in your spell and trap zone and this card is in your graveyard, even during the damage step, you can banish this card, special summon 1 Crystal Beast monster card from your spell and trap zone. One of the key things to note here is that first effect that says target 1 Crystal Beast monster card you control means you can target one of your crystallized monsters that is in the spell and trap zone already. So you pop one, you get a token. It's a somewhat decent trade-off, and of course, being in grave, you can then banish it to special summon one, meaning you can trigger things like Ruby Carbuncle, but you could also pop a monster card in your monster card zone that is a Crystal Beast, and then, you know, save it for later, make some of your other spells live. One of the things that have always been interesting about Crystal Beasts as a whole is that the majority of their spell and trap support has always been very strong, and would probably be broken if other archetypes had that level of support, but the monsters are a tad lackluster, and that's really what holds them back. But Crystal Protection is pretty good. I don't know how much play it'll see, but it does seem like a neat option and another crystal name that might be worth considering. Next up, we've got Bridge of Salvation. This is actually going to be in History Archive or Battles of Legend, but it's way too good not to talk about. And I apologize because this may have been released a couple of weeks ago. I didn't see the card, so to me it's new, and to you, maybe it's new, maybe it's not. Either way, this card is absolutely insane, and truly one of the best pieces of Crystal Beast support that I have seen yet. It is a normal trap that says if a level 10 or higher monsters with 2 or more different types are on the field, shuffle as many cards from each player's hand, field, and graveyard as possible into the deck. Except this card, then each player draws 5 cards. You can banish this card from your graveyard, add 1 Crystal Beast monster and 1 field spell from your deck to your hand. You can only apply each effect of this card once per duel. That first effect is cute, but it's almost never going to resolve. Being able to have 2 level 10 monsters out, whether it's you or your opponent with the same type, it's recreating the scene from the anime with Armatile and Rainbow Dragon, and it's neat for a historical perspective, but the second effect is really what makes this absolutely nuts. It's a +1 that gets you any Crystal Beast and any field spell. I just want to point that out because while you're typically going to want to search one of your Crystal Beast field spells, if you're playing the Advanced Crystal Beast, getting access to Advanced Dark early is going to be mandatory if you want your creatures to survive, and any monster, including Rainbow Dragon Zenith, the Ultimate Crystal Beast, is a pretty good tool to have. Utilizing something like Foolish Burial Goods to get this in the graveyard and then banishing it is going to put you in an immediately solid starting position, and it is a hard once per duel effect, so you're likely only going to play 1 copy of this, but as long as you can get it engraved quickly, the effect is going to be more than worth the payoff. It's just a really solid advantage generator, and if you are playing other field spells, things like Mystic Mind, which I hate to say out loud, in the deck to sort of help alleviate the, time between turns where you're getting resources together, you do have ways to search that out. Now, unfortunately, and also hopefully, Mystic Mind will be banned by the time we actually get this card, because it's likely going to line up with the next ban list, but who knows if that's actually going to happen. I'm just using that as one example, but this is an incredible searcher that gets you access to not 1, but 2 cards, and a generic field spell searcher for the deck as long as you take a Crystal Beast. Now, Crystal Miracle is another trap. It's a counter trap, and it says when a spell or trap or monster effect is activated, destroy 1 Crystal Beast card you control, and if you do, negate the activation of that card. If you do that, destroy it. If a Crystal Beast card is placed in your spell and trap zone while this card is in your graveyard, you could banish this card from your graveyard, then place 1 Crystal Beast monster from your hand, deck, or graveyard face up in your spell and trap zone as a continuous spell. So it's a cute card. It does require you to control a single Crystal Beast card, but it does not require it to be a monster, meaning there's plenty of ways to make this live, and the blanket negation is solid. I think counter traps in archetypes have been a little bit less effective nowadays in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Versus how they were back in the day, but it's still a pretty neat card to perhaps look at as a one-of, especially because of that secondary effect that does help you to ramp out your Crystal Beast from the deck and further your strategies as a whole. It's not amazing, but it's definitely a solid trap that could be worth considering when building a Crystal Beast deck. Next up is Awakening of the Crystal Lord, the card that came out today and inspired me to make this video because this is just an insane card that is one of the best singular pieces of archetype support I have seen in quite some time. However, I just want to preface the fact that, of course, as it is a, Crystal Beast card, it's only going to go so far in what it does. Awakening the Crystal Lord is a quick play spell that says reveal 1 ultimate crystal monster in your hand, activate 1 of these effects. If you control an ultimate crystal monster, activate 1 or both of these effects. Take 1 bridge card, except a plethora of bridge cards unrelated to the archetype, or Rainbow Refraction from your deck, and either add it to your hand or send it to the graveyard. Or special summon 1 Crystal Beast monster card from your hand, deck, graveyard, or spell and trap zone. So what this means is you reveal a Rainbow Dragon or a different ultimate crystal monster in your hand, but typically you're going to play the 1 Rainbow Dragon simply as a way to reveal and have outs, unless they give us a better one, which could very well happen, and get that free summon from deck or grave or spell and trap zone anywhere to trigger whatever you need, or to search any of your crystal cards, because of course Rainbow Bridge is just a normal spell that says add 1 crystal spell or trap from your deck to your hand, so you can search it with this. And if you control a monster like Rainbow Overdrive, which is treated as an ultimate crystal monster, you can actually resolve both effects, meaning you can special summon any Crystal Beast monster that you want from anywhere, and add any Crystal Beast spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is just really, really good search power. Again, if another archetype had cards like this, those cards would be borderline busted, but Crystal Beasts definitely need all the help they can get, and this card is a huge step in the right direction. Awakening the Crystal Lord is definitely the best singular piece of support so far, and I'm optimistic that the rest of the cards will follow suit. Lastly, so far, we have Crystal Grace, which is a normal trap that says special summon up to 2 Crystal Beast monster cards from your spell and trap zone, and if you do, gain life points equal to their total original attack. If a Crystal Beast card or cards is placed in your spell and trap zone while this card is in your graveyard, even during the damage step, you can banish this card, excavate the top card of your deck, and if it is a Crystal Beast monster, either add it to your hand or special summon it. Otherwise, send it to the graveyard. So a trap that special summons 2 Crystal Beasts is a tad slow. However, the secondary effect is not bad, especially because a few cards in this deck can actually directly stack your deck with Crystal Beast cards, allowing you to trigger this effect and essentially get a free resource. I'm going to have to theory craft with the deck a little bit more and kind of play test to see whether or not this one's actually going to see play, but it's definitely a solid trap card that, again, at least warrants consideration. I think people are going to have to look around and really figure out what works in the deck, and people are going to have to get online and lab on Dueling Book or EDO Pro or whatever, because right now we don't actually have these cards in hand, and I don't even think the OCG has them yet. But that's where we're at. So you guys can tell I'm very much excited about the Crystal Beast archetype, and I cannot wait to get the rest of these cards. The Legend of the Crystal Beast structure deck is going to be an exciting product just as a fan, like not as someone who's objectively reviewing things from a meta standpoint. We're certainly not at a point where we can discuss these cards competitively, but they are definitely looking like they could be on the fringe of a rogue option if the rest of the support pans out, and that is obviously a big if. I think there's different directions you could take the deck in terms of playing some kind of extra deck spam, in terms of playing something a little bit more control-oriented, and I'm certainly excited to see it. Not to mention, it is one of the most beautiful high-rarity decks in the game, but of course is going to cost you an arm and a leg to get them all in high rarity at this point. So let me know what you guys think so far of the Crystal Beast cards from the structure deck and History Archive / Battles of Legend. I'm pumped. Are you excited? Let me know in the comments below, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.
Love to pummel that little toothpick of a man. Hasta la vista, baby! I'll be back!